Good morning, my lovely friends. It's Happy Mask Monday. I have a mask with papaya and strawberry seeds. You can see the little seeds there in it, so I guess it exfoliates. It is C'est Moi Refreshing Papaya and Strawberry Seed Scrub Facial Mask. Alrighty, there it is. All right, you guys wanted to hear my wedding story, but I'm going to go back to when I met my husband and husband-to-be and go up to the wedding, and then I'll stop there because we eventually get divorced, so won't go down that road. So I was 17 maybe when I met him. I was still in high school. And he was a year or two older, 2 years older than me, I think. So he was out of school. So I had a best friend, and her mother worked nights, so I would often spend the night with her because then we could do whatever we wanted because nobody was home to tell us we couldn't. So I had a really bad cold, and she set me up on this blind date. Her boyfriend was a president of this car club where they showed built cars up, and like older cars, they'd fix them up and stuff, and they had their show car, and they do go to car shows, all that kind of stuff. And so her boyfriend was the president, and they wanted to fix me up on this blind date with the vice president. His name was Roger, and that's who I ended up marrying. But so that first date, I had a bad cold, and so my friend's like, oh, well, I was coughing a lot, and she's like, well, I'll fix you a hot toddy. My mother used to give me those, when I was, or gives me those when I've got a bad cough. And me, being not a drinker at all, didn't really realize it had booze in it. I just thought it was nasty tasting, kind of like cough syrup or whatever. And I've never been a drinker, don't like the taste of alcohol. And so I drink this hot toddy, and by the time they show up for the date, I'm like, woo, hi there, drunk as a skunk off one drink. So I'm sure my date thought he was going to get lucky. He thought he had some wild woman. So we go to this party thinking it's just a party, and it turned out to be, I don't know if you all know who they are, but it turned out to be a Hells Angels party. Now, the Hells Angels, if you don't know, is California-based motorcycle gang. I mean, like drugs and murders and, that kind of gang. I mean, not like this nice little, let's go on a Sunday ride type gang. It's the leather jackets and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think any of us realized what we were getting into when we went to this party. But the guys wanted to pretend they were all macho. They wanted to stay for a little while. But, my friend Diane and I were kind of terrified. And somebody says, oh, there's some brownies in the oven. Would you get them out? So I got the brownies out of the oven. And I was going to eat one, and somebody's like, those are pot brownies, don't you? And I'm like, no, I did not know that. So we pretty soon got out of there. Not the best first date. And our second date was just him and me. We went to a Righteous Brothers concert, and our song became "You've Lost That Loving Feeling." I don't know why. That it's kind of a precursor thing, I guess. I don't know. And then it was Vietnam years, so he decided he was going to go in the Air Force to avoid getting drafted, and there was this particular job he wanted, but it wasn't available yet, so he was on a waiting list to go into this job in the Air Force. And I just had my hair up because A, I was sleeping this way, and B, so it doesn't get in my mask. And while he's waiting for this particular job to show up, he gets his draft notice from the Army. So he calls the Air Force back up and he says, okay, I'll take anything you've got. So he went to boot camp in Texas, so it's where their Air Force boot camp is. And then he was stationed in Mississippi for his training in his field. So but before he left, I think it was before he left, I had moved. We all lived in San Diego when we met in first year or so. And then after I graduated from high school, my family moved up north about 100 miles to like Fullerton, which is just below Los Angeles. We were right down the street from Disneyland. We could sit on the front lawn and watch the fireworks from Disneyland. We weren't in Anaheim, which is where Disneyland is, but we were like the next town up, which was Garden Grove. But I went to school in Fullerton. So if you live in California, you know what all that is. If you don't, it's between Los Angeles and San Diego. So when he proposed, it was so romantic. We were in the parking lot of I think it was a Taco Bell, maybe McDonald's, something like that. And he's like, yeah, we should get married. That was it. That was my romantic proposal. So he goes off to Mississippi, and I started my first year of college. And so we were going to get married in San Diego, where his mother and father were. And I was, in college 100 miles north. So his mom did all of the wedding arrangements. It was a very small wedding. Just my sister was my matron of honor. By then she'd gotten married 3 months before. I'll tell you a little bit about her wedding, which was funny, but I'll go back to that. So I bought my dress. I think it was $145 or something. I'll see if I can find a picture of it and put it at the end. It was one of those with the big hoop skirt and rows and rows and rows of lace. That comes into the story later. So I got the dress. I hadn't had time to try it on with the hoops and all that. It was down in San Diego, and my last final was like 2 days before the wedding, maybe a day before. It was right before the wedding. So I take my last final and go down to San Diego to where the wedding was, and we had a small wedding and then a reception at his parents' house. And my dad and stepmother were there, and stepbrothers and sisters and all that. My dad had just had a bad heart attack and was out of the hospital, so he really wasn't healthy enough to walk me down the aisle, but because he was there, I didn't want anybody else to walk me down the aisle, so I decided to just come down by myself. So now's where the hoop skirt comes into it. So I'm walking down the aisle in this hoop skirt, and it gets up under my feet, and I go, woo! Almost face planted. And you know how they all stand up when the bride's walking down? Perfect stranger reaches out, grabs me, puts me back on my feet, and I kept walking. And so that was our almost every wedding has some kind of story like that where some disaster or almost disaster happens. That was my little almost disaster. And that donkey's so funny. I got up like 20 minutes ago, and he's still laying in bed going, I'm not ready to get up. So he finally got up and went out to go potty. He just likes to chill, he'll get up when he's good and ready. He just ran by is what made me think about that. So anyway, so then we went over to his parents' house, changed my clothes, got into, something more comfortable. And don't remember what that was, probably a dress back in those days. I got married on June 15th, 1968. I was 18 years old. He was 20. And in California at the time, you couldn't get married. I could get married at 18 without my parents' permission, which is a good thing because they probably wouldn't have given it to me. But he had to have a his dad's permission to have it notarized. So we went into where his dad worked, and because there was a notary there, and she was like, "Oh, this is so exciting!" He was like, "I just notarized boring things," so she got to notarize that we could get married. So we were youngins when we got married, and at the reception, they had champagne, of course, for toasts, and I abhor champagne. Oh, it's just so nasty. So I took some ginger ale and put it in a glass, and it looks just like champagne. I don't really like ginger ale very well, but I don't hate it as bad as champagne. So when they were toasting, I had my little glass, and I was drinking ginger ale, and no one ever knew the difference. Nobody ever knew, I don't think. And then what else? There's something else I was going to tell you. Something about afterwards. Well, we had this a short honeymoon, 3 or 4 days, something like that. We went up to Lake Arrowhead, which is this lake up in the mountains near Los Angeles. And then I got a little one. I don't even think it had a bedroom. It was a studio apartment, because he went off to Japan, and I was going to join him there about 3 months later, but had to find a place for us to live, and because we had to live off base, and all that kind of stuff. And so 3 months later, I went to Japan, and our first place we lived was a Japanese-style apartment. It had the tatami mats, sort of the rice mats, and we had a true futon where it has this big foam thing that's jointed in 3 places, and it folds up, and you kind of shove it aside. And then on top of that, it looks like a quilt, but it's super heavy, super filled. And you put the jointed, unfold the jointed up thing down on the foam thing, and then put your quilty thing over the top of that, and then sheets or whatever over that. And this isn't drying at all. And then it had Japanese style bathroom, which was I think it had a Japanese style toilet. Their toilet, the part we sit on, is flush with the floor, and they squat over it. And then it had, the best part about it was it had a tub that you couldn't stretch out in it, but it was probably 3 or 4 feet cubed, and you'd fill it full of water, and it had a heater underneath it, so you could get it hot, and then you could turn the heater down enough to just keep it hot all the time. And the way they do it is they have a dipper, and it has a drain in the floor. It has a dipper, and you wash off and rinse off and all that. Hush! Somebody going by. Before you get in, and then you get in and soak, because they think it's dirty to wash in the water they're soaking in. And they're probably right, but that's how we do it. And it was a cute little apartment, and I remember at the time, I think it was 3,600 yen, which sounds like a lot, but at the ratio at the time was 360 yen to $1. So it was $100, which was a lot, because we made, I think it was $178 a month back in those days. So that's my wedding story, my courtship story, all of that. Let me tell you a little quick thing about my sister's wedding. She got married 3 months before I did. She actually ended up marrying somebody. I dated him first, or we dated once or twice and realized we were meant to be friends, not, boyfriend, girlfriend. Then she eventually dated him, and they got married. But at her wedding, he was a stutterer, and he was concentrating, and we've got it recorded, so he can't deny it. He tried to deny it, but we had it recorded. he was concentrating so hard on trying not to stutter that he made a little Freudian slip, as they say. When it comes to the part about my lawfully wedded wife, he said my lawfully bedded wife. We never let him live that one down. The whole audience, congregation, whichever they are, I don't know what you'd call them at the wedding guests, we're all trying to not laugh. Because he didn't realize at the time what he said, and then later on we told him, he's like, I did not say that. Yeah, here's the recording. So that's my wedding story. I'm glad you all asked, because it gave me something to talk about during my mask. So love y'all, and I think I'm 5. I haven't looked this morning. Yes, last night I was 5 away from 1,000. So if you haven't subscribed, I'd love to have you. Please do. We're gonna have a big old giveaway when I hit 1,000 subscribers. I have another giveaway going on for a Walmart beauty box. It ends Thursday. I'm gonna draw the name Thursday. So if you haven't signed up for that one, go back and do it. It's a couple videos back, and I got 2 Walmart beauty boxes. I always get 2, but lately they've been giving me the same one for both. And this one, I didn't really like it that much anyway. For me, at my age, 74, I didn't really want hair chalk and long nails and all that stuff. So it's got some good stuff in it. One more thing. If you've watched my Temu one, I put the wig on, and I was going to send it back because I thought the color was too light and the bangs were kind of wonky. Well, I went to send it back, and they're like, well, we'll give you a refund, but just keep it. Either use it, give it away, whatever you want to, throw it away, whatever you want to do with it, just keep it. So I might wear it sometime, and the bangs were kind of wonky, but if I split them, like that, where it's not bangs, I might be able to get away with wearing it. So you might see me in a wig sometime just for fun, because why not? I didn't pay nothing for it. I got the credit back. I might as well keep it. And I would give it to my friend, but she's ghosted me, so I'll keep it for myself. Alrighty, this is not drying, so I'm probably going to wipe it off. It's been 17 minutes. So I'm sure you quit watching by now, but I love y'all. Have a good week.